private jet crash report to be uploaded on Ministry's website. Meeting on foreign worker applications for 3 subsectors next week. Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Now, the preliminary report of the Beechcraft Model 390 Premier 1 crash that killed 8 people on board the plane at Bandar Elmina in Shah Alam on 17 August will be released tomorrow at 10 a.m. Now, Transport Minister Anthony Logue said that the report will be uploaded on the Ministry's website.
Progress of the report will be issued tomorrow. I think we no, just refer to the facts. All the facts will be in the report tomorrow. We will upload the report on our website by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
The report is being released ahead of the deadline on 16 September as the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia is required to release a preliminary report within 30 days of an air crash. It is expected to provide more details about the crash, such as the aircraft's condition, the weather conditions, the actions of the crew, and the factors that may have contributed to the incident. The aircraft flying from Langkawi to Subang crashed onto the Guthrie Highway at about 2:50 p.m. on 17 August, killing all 8 people on board, including Pahang State Executive Councillor Dato Sri Johari Harun. An e-hailing driver and a P-hailing rider on the highway were also killed. On another note, Logue said 3 new train sets have begun operating on the Kerana Light Rail Transit or LRT line today. And he said 3 more train sets are expected to be received by the end of the year. And this would gradually restore train arrival time to 3 minutes per interval compared to the current irregularities. Explaining further, Logue said the current train frequency is 3.8 minutes, which is just under 4 minutes. Hence, he said Rapid Rail aims to reach a frequency of every 3 minutes by the end of next month.
Dengan penambahan 3 set train baru dan juga pelaksanaan inisiatif-inisiatif penyelenggaraan Rapid Rail ke atas komponen-komponen kritikal, LRT laluan Kerana Jaya kini beroperasi dengan purata sebanyak 44 buah train pada waktu puncak berbanding 30 buah train sebelum ini.
Speaking when inspecting the operation of the new train sets at the Pasar Seni station, he said the 3 trains are part of the procurement of 27 new trains for the Kerana Jaya LRT line under the Kuala Lumpur Additional Vehicle Project worth 1.72 billion ringgit. A total of 11 trains have been received so far. The trains were received in stages from September 2020 and the remaining 16 will be delivered in phases until December next year. Human Resources Minister V. Siva Kumar said a meeting will be held between his ministry and the Home Ministry next week to fine-tune the mechanism for the recruitment of foreign workers involving barbershops, textiles and goldsmiths.
Pada minggu hadapan, satu mesyuarat akan diadakan di antara Kementerian Pemanusiaan dengan Kementerian Dalam Negeri untuk memperincikan prosedur bagaimana kita nak membuka dan memproses untuk permohonan baru untuk 3 subsektor tersebut.
He said this to reporters after officiating a seminar on combating forced labour in Malaysia today. He was asked about the application status of 7,500 foreign workers allocated for the 3 subsectors that were approved by the Cabinet. On 4th September, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said he had approved part of the applications for the recruitment of foreign workers for 3 subsectors which had been frozen since 2009. However, he placed the condition that local youths must also be trained to fill up vacancies in the 3 sectors. Prior to the announcement, Siva Kumar was reported to have said that many employers had been forced to close their businesses or were close to doing so due to a serious shortage of manpower in the 3 subsectors. MY-IDEA, or My Idea, a disaster information system, will serve as a platform to enable rescue missions, especially in the case of natural disasters, to be carried out faster, better coordinated and systematically. Well, Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Chang Lee Kang said My Idea uses satellite technology which enables rescue missions to be carried out faster and in a regular manner.
Saya yakinlah My Idea ni akan sangat membantulah dalam pengurusan bencana sebab aplikasi ni dia bukan dibangunkan di dalam lab ataupun di dalam ofis sendiri, tetapi dengan pengalaman MAISA dan juga pasukan-pasukan keselamatan. So dia akan saya rasa akan sangat membantulah, dan saya harap selepas pelancaran pada hari ini apa-apa pengurusan bencana selepas ini akan menggunakan My Idea ni.
Well, he said this at the launch of My Idea in Kuala Lumpur today. My Idea was developed for the use of agencies involved in managing and providing flood assistance, which allows, among other things, the location of victims to be detected in less than 5 minutes, while the rescue period is expected to be expedited by 50%. It is used to identify the victim's situation, detect the actual location, ensure that rescue management is coordinated, and archive information for visual display and future reference. Simpang Jeram Assemblyman Nazri Abdul Rahman took his oath of office at the third meeting of the second session of the 15th Johor State Assembly at the Sultan Ismail Building, Kota Iskandar today. Now, the swearing-in ceremony was held before Johor Speaker Dato Dr. Muhammad Puad Zarkashi and was witnessed by Menteri Besar Dato On Hafiz Ghazi and other state assemblymen. Earlier, Dato Muhammad Puad, who is also a Ringgit assemblyman, offered condolences to the family of the late Dato Sri Salahuddin Ayub, who passed away on 23rd July. The Ringgit assemblyman also congratulated former Johor Speaker Suhaizan Kayat and Nazri for their respective victory in the Pulai Parliamentary and Simpang Jeram State by-elections on 9th September. Nazri, 56, won the Simpang Jeram State seat with a 3,514 vote majority, defeating Dr. Muhammad Mazri Yahya of Perikatan Nasional and independent candidate S. Jagannathan. Now, both elections were held following the death of Dato Sri Salahuddin, who was also Deputy President. Well, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim received a courtesy call from Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives of the Philippines, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, at the Parliament House today. Arroyo and her delegation arrived at 11:50 a.m. and were welcomed by the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Uthman Said, and her Deputy Ramkarpal Singh. Well, during that meeting, which lasted 30 minutes, Dato Sri Anwar and Arroyo, who is also president of the International Conference on Population and Development, or ICPD, also discussed current issues, including the abolition of mandatory death penalty. Well, according to Dato Sri Azalina, the Philippines delegation had expressed their admiration for the unity government's swift action in enforcing the Abolition of Mandatory Death Penalty Act 2023, Act 846. Last April, the Dewan Rakyat passed the act which aimed at abolishing the mandatory death penalty to vary the sentence relating to imprisonment for natural life and whipping, and to provide for matters connected therewith. Under the Act, the court now has the discretion to impose the death penalty or imprisonment for a period of not less than 30 years, but not exceeding 40 years, and if not sentenced to death, shall also be punished with whipping of not less than 12 strokes.
Dapatkan penghantaran dan pulangan percuma serta tawaran hebat fashion dan kecantikan di Shopee Hari Fashion Hebat.
Still ahead, India imposes curbs after 2 die of Nipah virus. Well, India has curbed public gatherings and shut some schools in the southern state of Kerala after 2 people died of Nipah, a virus from bats or pigs that causes deadly fever, an official said Thursday. Now, the virus has no vaccine. and a fatality rate ranging from 40 to 75%, according to the World Health Organization. Now, Kerala's first Nipah outbreak killed 21 of the 23 infected, while subsequent outbreaks in 2019 and 2021 killed 2 people. Symptoms include intense fever, vomiting, and a respiratory infection, but severe cases can involve seizures and encephalitis, and inflammation of the brain, and result in a coma. The WHO said initially transmitted from animals such as fruit bats or pigs, Nipah is also spread from person to person. The incubation period, the time from infection to the onset of symptoms, ranges from around 4 to 14 days, but has been reported to be as long as 45 days, according to the WHO. Now, the virus was first identified in 1998 after it spread among pig farmers in Malaysia. In India, the first Nipah outbreak was reported in the state of West Bengal in 2001. Well, the United Nations said Thursday that most of the thousands of deaths in Libya's flood disaster could have been averted if early warning and emergency management systems had functioned properly. Petteri Talas, head of the UN's World Meteorological Organization, WMO, said with better functioning coordination in the crisis-racked country, authorities could have issued the warnings and emergency management forces would have been able to carry out proper evacuation and human casualties could have been avoided. Now, his comments came after a tsunami-size flash flood hit eastern Libya at the weekend, killing at least 4,000 people, with thousands more missing and feared dead. The enormous surge of water burst 2 upstream river dams and reduced the city of Derna to an apocalyptic wasteland where entire city blocks and untold numbers of people were washed into the Mediterranean Sea. Tala said lacking weather forecasting and dissemination and action on early warnings was a large contributor to the size of the disaster. Now, he said if evacuations had taken place, the human toll would have been far lower. Libya's National Meteorological Center, NMC, did issue early warnings for the extreme weather coming 72 hours in advance and had notified governmental authorities by email, urging them to take preventive measures. But WMO said it was, quote, not clear whether the warnings were effectively disseminated, unquote. Coming up in sports, new green jersey for overall leader. Stay with us.
Tamasya sukan terulung di benua Asia kini bakal beraksi. Satu hati dengan semangat kesukanan. Perjuangan dalam keharmonian. Sukan Asia ke-19 Hangzhou 2022 bersama RTM, penyiar rasmi.
Well, in sports, the organisers of Le Tour de Langkawi 2023, or LTDL, today announced a change in jersey colour for the overall leader in the race scheduled from 23rd to the 30th of September. Now, the colour change for the overall leader of the Pro Series status tour follows the signing of the current title sponsor, Petroleum Nasional Berhad, or Petronas. Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh said the colour is synonymous with the corporate colour of the title sponsor of the prestigious cycling race for 3 years, in line with the sponsorship period of the National Oil Company. Without revealing the amount of sponsorship from Petronas, Hannah said the total amount channel would be a relief to the Youth and Sports Ministry, that's the KBS, and the National Sports Council, MSN, to organise the race.
Majlis Sukan Negara hanya mempunyai beberapa bulan sahaja untuk melaksanakan dan menganjurkan program ini, dan saya tahu setakat ini semua sudah teratur, dan saya percaya tahun depan bila kita ada lebih banyak lagi masa, penajaan tersebut mungkin akan melebihi apa yang kita dapat tahun ini. Tetapi saya tahu setakat tahun ini semua sudah okey.
She said this to reporters after a ceremony to introduce the title sponsor of LTDL 2023 at MSN in Bukit Jalil today. The LTDL jersey of the overall leader was earlier yellow since its debut in 1996. Meanwhile, Petronas's Group Strategic Communications Senior General Manager, Datin Anita Azrina Abdul Aziz, said Petronas's move in taking up the title sponsorship was to support the local sports arena. Anita Azrina said a company will discuss with MSN to consider holding LTDL in other venues such as Sabah and Sarawak. LTDL 2023 will feature 132 cyclists from 22 teams, with World Team, Pro Team and Continental status apart from the national team. Well, the request of Malaysian Lawn Bowls Federation, or MLBF, for its athletes to be listed in the podium program will be granted by the National Sports Council, or MSN. Well, MSN Athlete Division Director Jeffrey Ngadirin said sports such as lawn bowls, snooker and billiards, as well as kickboxing are indeed in the agency's plans to be listed in the Elite Athlete Preparation Program. He said MSN is currently planning the listing of sports and athlete preparation programs for 3 upcoming SEA Games, namely the 2025 edition in Thailand, Malaysia 2027 and Singapore 2029.
Jadi untuk sukan lombol jangan risau, memang lombol akan tersenarai. Manakala mereka kalau ikut track record akan berada dalam senarai sukan yang dipertahankan di Tamasya Sukan SEA di Thailand. Rasmi Malaysia akan menganjurkan pada 2007 akan menganjurkan juga sukan lombol. Jadi semua sukan ini memang kita akan masukkan dalam program latihan yang akan dirancang.
He said this when met during the visit of Asian Games 2022 contingent chef de mission Dato' Chong Kim Fat to the Sepak Takraw squad training today. While following the success of Nur Ain Nabila Tarmizi and Alina Ahmad Nawawi, who emerged as the champions in the women's pairs event at the World Bowls Championships in Gold Coast, Australia last Saturday, MLBF President Dato' Awalan Abdul Aziz requested that the sport be listed again in the podium program so that there is a good support system structure in place. Meanwhile, Jeffrey said among the criteria for the selection of athletes to the podium program is a gold medalist at the Cambodian SEA Games who will be listed full-time to maintain or improve their performance. Also in focus are the other medal winners in Cambodia 2023 and the sports that will be contested in the next 3 editions of the SEA Games. And on to football, Brazilian import Bergson da Silva bagged a brace to inspire Malaysia Cup defending champions Johor Darul Takzim, or JDT, to a comfortable 3-0 win over 3-time champions Negeri Sembilan FC, or NSFC, in the first leg of the quarterfinals at the Tunku Abdul Rahman Stadium in Paroy on Wednesday night. The Southern Tigers began aggressively and nearly took a 14-minute lead when Bergson's attempt was pushed out by NSFC goalkeeper Muhammad Firdaus Erman Muhammad Fadil. JDT, however, did not have to wait long for the opening goal, as 6 minutes later, Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanapi thundered home from long range. NSFC defender Nasrullah Hanif Johan then handed JDT a gift when he fouled Bergson in the box, and the Brazilian coolly slotted from the spot to make it 2-0 in the 31st minute. NSFC, under the guidance of coach K. Devon, tried to fight back, but to no avail. Bergson then made sure JDT will take back a comfortable 3-goal cushion when he netted his second and the team's third with a beautifully taken free kick in injury time. The return leg tie will be played at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Iskandar Putri, Johor, on 23rd September.
Piala Malaysia 2023, kesebelasan utama kini bersedia bagi memburu dominasi tahta terulung bola sepak Malaysia. Sabtu, 16 September, Terengganu FC bertemu Selangor FC 8.30 malam di saluran OK. Saksikan juga secara penstreaman langsung di RTM Klik.
Coming up next, further discussions on special economic zone prior to terms of reference agreement. Well, shares on Bursa Malaysia ended higher today as volatility subsided amid renewed hope of a United States Federal Reserve's rate hike pause after the latest U.S. inflation data. Now at 5 p.m., the FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI or FBM KLCI slid 3.96 points to 1,449.58 from Wednesday's close of 1,453.54. The index opened 4.32 points lower at 1,449.22 and fluctuated between 1,445.31 and 1,455.09 throughout the session. On the broader market, gainers outnumbered decliners 527 to 342, while 459 counters were unchanged, 1,006 untraded and 9 suspended. Turnover was higher at 2.96 billion units, worth 2.20 billion ringgit against Wednesday's 2.51 billion units, worth 1.88 billion ringgit. And following are Bursa's 6 most active counters. Well, further discussions between Malaysia and Singapore to create a Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, or SEZ, will be followed by the agreement on Terms of Reference, or TOR, next month. Now, last July, the two countries agreed to create a special task force to study the establishment of the SEZ, which is expected to report its progress to the leaders at the Malaysia-Singapore Leaders Retreat scheduled for this October. Elaborating further on the matter, Menteri Besar Dato' Onn Hafiz Ghazi said the matter will be discussed further and will then be followed up with the approval of the TOR next month during the Leaders' Retreat in Singapore, which will be attended by the premiers of both countries.
Objektif kita mengadakan Special Economic Zone ataupun SEZ ini, pertamanya adalah untuk memastikan bahawa pergerakan manusia dan barangan dapat dilaksanakan dengan baik dan mudah, dan dengan izin ease of doing business and ease of movement.
Dato' Onn Hafiz said the Johor-Singapore SEZ could make Johor like the city of Shenzhen, which flourished after 4 decades of being an SEZ. The Menteri Besar added that the achievement of Shenzhen is proof that the Johor-Singapore SEZ can produce the best results for Johor. However, the matter definitely requires help and cooperation from all parties, from the Singapore government as well as the federal government. Well, Ipoh City Council plans to build more electric vehicle or EV charging stations in the near term, especially in attraction and strategic areas under the City Council's purview. Mayor Dato' Rumaizi Baharin said the initiative aims to attract more visitors to the city, especially from EV users. Therefore, he said the City Council had signed a memorandum of understanding or MOU with telecommunication company or telco XOX Berhad as the strategic technology partner to improve existing infrastructure and services in terms of digitalization. Dato' Rumaizi said the collaboration is not only aimed at building EV charging stations but also involves other facilities, including enhancing public transportation through digital electronic applications. Meanwhile, Roy Ho said XOX planned to establish 50 to 200 EV charging stations in Ipoh in stages. Well, earlier, Ipoh City Council and XOX also renewed their collaboration signed on 24th May last year, which aimed to foster cooperation under the latest strategic technology sharing program. The collaboration also strengthened the fundamental parameters in the field of digital innovation, signifying the joint commitment of both parties to explore and assess the feasibility of joint projects in several key areas. Well, Malaysia's real estate market recorded a stable performance in the first half of this year, despite a number of headwinds, such as inflationary pressures. Now, Deputy Finance Minister Dato' Sri Ahmad Mazlan said his ministry is cautiously optimistic about the sector's prospects for the second half of this year.
Lebih 184,000 transaksi direkodkan bernilai 85.37 bilion ringgit. Aktiviti pasaran hartanah separuh tahun pertama 2023 dan ia menunjukkan sedikit penurunan 2.1% dalam bilangan tetapi sedikit peningkatan sebanyak 1.1% dalam nilai ringgit berbanding tempoh yang sama tahun lalu. Jadi rumusan kami, pasaran harta tanah separuh tahun pertama 2023 adalah stabil.
Well, speaking at the launch of the National Property Information Centre's Property Market First Half of 2023 report, he said the residential property segment continued to drive the market, controlling more than 60% of the total transaction volume and nearly 53% of the total transaction value. It was followed by the agriculture subsector with a 19.8% share in terms of volume, while in terms of value, the commercial property subsector was second with 19.6%. The properties market's performance is expected to improve in the second half, driven by political stability and the launch of major national policies such as the Madani Economy and National Energy Transition Roadmap. Well, the Ministry of Communications and Digital, or KKD, is examining the need to license large platform providers such as Google, Meta and TikTok that generate revenue through content from local media organizations. Minister Fahmi Fadil said discussions with the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, and the platforms concerned had been carried out to fine-tune the matter, which aims to provide returns to the country's media industry.
Antara lain, kita lihat ada keperluan untuk mungkin mempertimbang satu mekanisme untuk sekurang-kurangnya ketiga-tiga platform ini menyumbang balik kepada industri media di Malaysia. Kerana kita lihat banyak daripada konten kita yang dihasilkan oleh organisasi media di Malaysia dimanfaatkan oleh platform-platform ini dalam media sosial mereka, tapi pulangan kepada media kita sangat kurang.
Well, speaking at the Kasih at Hawana 2023 program, Fahmi noted that such licensing and registration measures must be considered to ensure the sustainability of the national media industry ecosystem. The minister previously said the initiative to engage with the social media platforms was expected to help the media industry generate additional income. Well, he said the minister concerned, well, he had to play a role to protect the media fraternity in the country. CGS-CIMB Research is optimistic that Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad or MAHB will see some excitement returning in the second half of this year, thanks to the continuing recovery in passenger traffic, stronger commercial rental collections, and higher airman duty-free sales. Now, it also expects several potential positive catalysts from the regulatory side. Now, CGS-CIMB Research in a note said the government is likely to sign the new operating agreement with MAHB by the end of this year. Well, it also estimated that MAHB gave a 13% discount to its rental-paying tenants on the basis that passenger traffic has not fully recovered to pre-COVID-19. Well, that's it from us this evening. And in our top story, private jet crash report to be uploaded on Ministry's website. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Malaysia Madani, Tekat Perpaduan, Penuhi Harapan. Thanks for watching.